Hello, everybody. Happy Monday. Happy first day of prep week in the fall in the Sisterhood membership. I'm going to get this party started. Actually, I got to pull up the right thing. Hold on. Let me get, there it is. There she is. Okay, awesome. Let me share my screen. And we're in it. Hello, hi, I am Brittany Frost. Welcome to the Sisterhood membership in fall 2024. We are diving back into the basics, and today is a kickoff call for the season. And it's also a kickoff call to welcome all of our new members into the membership. And if you have somebody that you know that was going to join this season and they didn't, spoiler alert, I have not shut the link off yet. So if you want to add your friends in before we actually get started next week, that link is actually going to be open all week long because I tend to have our last minute friends that scraggle in and get in at the last second, and I love it. So, welcome to the Sisterhood. Today, it's going to be a really quick call. I want to be in and out, whether you're watching it live with me or you're catching the replay. I just want to make sure that I'm conscious of your time and that we just get our minds settled on what this space is for, what you can expect from me, what you can expect from this season, just all the tools, the resources, why this space even exists in the first place, and just what you can do this week as we prep and get ready for next week to dive into the topic back to the basics. So, we're going to go through the mission of the sisterhood. We're going to talk about self care. I'm going to talk about the framework that we go through during the season, tools and resources you can access. I'm going to walk you through all the different websites and places you can hang out with me, and all the different things. Okay, so let's start though with things you can control. In this space, self care for me is really when you take a deep ownership over your life. Okay, and so when I talk about self care, I don't really talk about it as the pampering, really, of sorts. Like it's more the choices we make that are moving us in the direction of the life we desire to live for ourselves. Okay. And so, one of the things that I control in my day to day life are choices that I call best self choices. And we're actually going to talk about that a lot this season because when we go back to the basics, a lot of the choices you're making are those things that help you feel your best, right? Like moving your body, fueling your body in ways that help you feel your best. For example, this last weekend, I ate out a lot of times, which is not normal for our family, but we were traveling and just a lot of things. And that does not help me feel my best. So when I got home, I realigned. I said, okay, what can I control in this? And we got the meal plan prepped. We went and got groceries in the fridge, like all the things, right? So that I can feel my best. Those are best self choices. You're in control of that. Water goals, how much rest you get, etc. The other thing is what you consume. Start thinking about what you consume, not just with your mouth, right? We think about what we consume like with food, but we consume things with our eyes every day. For example, social media scrolls, we listen to things, whether it's on the radio, on television, from other people around us in our environment, right? And we have to protect that space. What we consume with our eyes, our ears, and our mouths, gosh, it is everything to how we feel from the inside out. So self care to me is really being mindful of like, do I want to be around that circle that's gossiping? Do I want to watch that show on TV that is giving me nightmares at night, right? Things like that. Checking into our community, being present in this community. I will tell you time and time again that you will get out what you put in, right? And so if you want to get out an incredible experience, if you want to get out new friendships, if you want to get out new ideas, if you want to grow, well, you got to put in what you want to get out, right? And so you got to be present in things like book club, our workshops, getting on the hangouts, just things like that. Speaking of, we've got lots of events. I'm going to go over them today and getting on them as best as you can. I know we've got people all across different time zones, and I do my best to have a multiple, like to give multiple options for time zones, right? And I'm cognizant of that. And things like this always have the opportunity to catch a replay. I will show you where you can access those as well, because even if you can't be on live, this can be self-paced for you and you can make sure that you're plugging in even when you can't maybe be on with us in the flesh, okay? Sweat meetups, we have those every other Friday. Actually, this Friday is our very first one, and those are just all day long on this same Zoom hangout. And so you on Thursday, I will let you know what time, what zone are you hopping in on? And then you can coordinate with other ladies in the membership so that you aren't working out by yourself. We'll talk about personal growth. We're going to talk about the books. I give you a podcast playlist every week. Maybe how you're spending your time, what's getting your yes. When we're going back to the basics, we're going to really dive into priorities. What is getting your yes this season and becoming really aware of that. Like I said, we've got book club, we've got our sisterhood. You can contribute to the sisterhood. That space is for you. Just sprinkling self-care into your life, cheering others on, celebrating the small stuff. There are so many things, what I'm trying to say, there are so many things that you can control. And I know in life there's a lot of things we can't control. So one thing I love to do is to shift my focus into the things that I can control, because otherwise, I'm going to drive myself freaking crazy trying to control the stuff that I have zero control over, right? So there's a lot that you can control. All right, let's talk about the sisterhood and why this space even exists. So, if you knew me for the last, gosh, 10 years, I was in the fitness only space. I mentored and coached women to get healthy in their lives. And I also mentored and coached women to build fitness coaching businesses. And I started to realize that my coaches, the ones that I mentored to build businesses, we did a lot of mindset work. We did a lot of things beyond just working out, right? It became a lifestyle of how we wove self-care and ownership and growth into our day-to-days, right? We had to look at our calendars. We had to look at just everything. We had to look at every area of life. And because of that, those people that I mentored to build the businesses, they ultimately had the most success with me as clients when it came to their fitness as well. And so I started to realize I was doing my clients a disservice because they'd come to me for just fitness. And while that's amazing, I love helping women in their health and wellness. I realized that health and wellness was more than just moving your body and eating right. Okay. And so this place was birthed out of my desire to help more women with the tools and resources that I know can transform your life. All right. Um, so I believe that healthy things grow, right? Just like you see in nature, when a plant is dying, I'm not a green thumb, so I tend to have a lot of plants that die on me, but we know they're not healthy, right? When they're sagging, when they're limp, when they're lifeless, right? And the same thing is true for us, okay? Growth looks good on you, and healthy things are going to grow. Growth is also uncomfortable because I think about growth sometimes in seasons where, for example, in the winter. Sometimes things look dead, but they're actually growing beneath the soil, right? And sometimes we have to go inward and have seasons like that where it looks like everything is dead on the outside, but really we're starting to spring new life. And so I want that to be you. I want that to be your journey. When somebody says you've changed, I want that to be a compliment to you. That your growth is causing people to notice that you're shifting, that you're evolving, and that is good. Okay. I also say that it starts with me, right? We can't point fingers in this space. We're not going to point fingers at your husband, at your friend, at your job, at your right. We're going to look at, okay, what can I change? Because change starts within, and self initiation is essential. Okay, so we take deep ownership, deep responsibility to initiate the transformation you seek. If you realize in the season that something is off with your job, right, your professional life just feels off, that is your clue to start initiating a transformation in that area. You might notice that in your health, there's something that's just off. You're not comfortable in your skin, or maybe you haven't been taking great care of yourself. That knowledge becomes self initiation for you to begin that transformation. Okay. And so it starts with you. Everything that is going on in your life, I want you to build that awareness so that you can then take action to shift it. I also say you create what you crave, right? You can create what you crave. That is why this space exists. I craved a sisterhood of like hearted women that would come together and grow together and do life together, right? And so I created it. So those things that are on your heart, I believe if they're on your heart, they're for you. And so I'm here to empower you that any dream you have on your heart, any desire that you have, I'm going to push you, nudge you to go out in the world and create it, right? Your journey is your own. We're not here to compare our journeys to other women, right? We're all unique and everyone is welcome at this table. In fact, this table needs you. It's not just that everyone has a seat at the table. The table wouldn't be the table if you weren't sitting with us, right? Rest is essential for meaningful work. I used to be the woman that when I die, I will rest. I was go, 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 do, do, do. And I've learned that I can't do the meaningful work that I desire to do in the world and in my life, in my home life, in my professional life, in all the areas, if I don't get enough rest. It's not a luxury, it's a necessity. And the last thing is the prize of the process. Oftentimes we hit goals or we set goals rather, and that's the thing that we're focused so intently on, right? Is the goal, the goal, the goal. But we forget that 99% of the journey is your process. And the process sometimes is sticky and messy and hard. And that's why we're here in this membership, because we get to do life and our journeys together, because the actual prize, who we become in the process, the character we're building, the struggles that we have that we can now turn into a story for someone else, right? That's the prize. That's the prize. That dangling carrot, that goal, that dream, that's amazing. You're going to get there. We're going to cheer for you. And who are you on the way to it? Because I don't want you to miss out on that 99% of life if all you're focused on is the mountaintop goal moment, right? Okay, so let's talk about self care. I always love to break this down whenever we have these kickoff calls, because it's a good refresher for us that self care is not just the physical. We often think of self care like the pampering. We think of the bubble baths, the mani pedis, we can even think of, I went to a yoga class and that was self care for me, right? I get it. That is amazing self care. And sometimes self care isn't sexy. Sometimes self care looks like adulting. Okay. And so there's a lot of different areas of self care. And so one of the things I love to do is help you build awareness around what do you even need? Because if you say that you need the bubble bath, but then you get out of the bubble bath and life is still the same, it's still lifing, maybe what you really needed was you haven't gone and hung out with people in a while. You need some social, relational self care, right? Or maybe, you've been focusing on the manis and petties, but then on Monday you have to go back to your job and your job's not fulfilling you and it's not sustainable to be pushing and going as hard as you are in your work. And so you're realizing that no mani or petty is going to actually take care of the actual problem. So what I love to do is really get to the root. We sometimes see what we think is the problem, and then there's actually a lot of problems underneath that. And I want you to find that domino effect that's going to tip over all the other dominoes in your life, right? So first one is mental self-care. And I'm actually going to kind of like couple together mental emotional self-care. So this is looking at our at cultivating, strengthening a healthy mindset, but also looking at the heart set, right? The emotions that are on your chest, and being able to have mindfulness, curiosity, and move through those emotions well. Okay. Professional self-care is something that I'm going to start talking about, because I do believe it has a space in our discussion here in the sisterhood. And that's just looking at your habits, your processes, maybe your community that helps to make your professional life healthy, fulfilling, and sustainable. Okay. Physical self care, we talked about it: exercise, nutrition, good hygiene, proper sleep, all those things. And some of the pampering can also go in there, right? Environmental self care is one of my favorite areas of self care. It's one that a lot of people don't ever consider, but it's looking at the spaces and places that are around you and then taking inventory if those spaces or places no longer serve the season you're in, right? And so environmental self-care could be your job. It could be a social circle. It could be your social media. Looking at that space. I'm hanging out in Instagram for an hour a day. I better make sure and take inventory that the people I'm seeing are serving my best and highest self, right? And so your social media can even be a form of environmental self-care. And then even your home, making sure your home is a place that you thrive in, that you don't come home and you just feel stressed out in, right? Spiritual self care is looking at your soul through activities and practices and communities, maybe, that provide that sense of purpose, direction, and meaning to your life. And you guys, when I say spiritual, a lot of times when people are like, oh, I'm not religious. Awesome. Neither am I, right? I have a relationship with my creator and I have a faith, and you do not have to share the same faith as me. I will never, ever have you, try to force anybody into sharing my faith. That's not what spiritual self care is. Spiritual self care is saying, do I have a purpose in this one life I've been given? Right? All right. Next is social relational self care. And that's looking at your healthy relationships. That could be your intimate partners, that could be friendships, that could be even you as a parent with your children, right? And then just connecting with those people that get you, but also maybe taking inventory if those relationships are no longer in alignment with where you're going. Okay. Recreational self care. This is one that I've been really loving. I told my husband Charles the other day, we are having too much fun lately. Like, we're having too much fun. We need to stop having fun. But it's good because there was a season in our life we didn't have any fun. It was all so serious. And so it's getting back to that inner child, doing hobbies, activities, adventures, maybe sharing new experiences that just feel fun. Okay. And then lastly, we talked about this all summer long, financial self care. This is taking care of the resources that you've been given and developing a healthy relationship, mindset, and then behaviors surrounding your spending, your saving, and how you steward your money. So, those are the types of self care. And in those 8 types, I like to look at them as, looking at them as almost I used to show it, sorry, like a round circle, like a pie chart, right? And I'd say, shade in the pie chart. Show me where you're at. But then it looked like this like imbalanced wheel, right? And it always just felt like, it's just off, right? And what I started to realize is that we don't need to have balance in our self care. Because when I say balance, a lot of times we think of balance as being synonymous with equal. hmm And so I don't want you to have everything at a level 10. That's not necessarily going to be true in your life, nor sustainable in the season that you're in, right? Not everything has to be a level 10. What this does is it gives us awareness for where we are putting our focus and our priorities right now, and if that needs to shift because maybe it's a little off, right? And so, for example, when I'm thinking about music, okay, I think about like if I listen to a song, every piece of that music is not at a 10. The guitar, the drums behind it, the singer, just all the pieces of the music are not all at a 10. They are blended so that the sound is beautiful, so that it's pleasing on my ears, right? And so I enjoy listening to that song. If everything was at a level 10 in a song, it would be not pleasing on the ears. It would not be enjoyable. And life can be like that sometimes too, when everything's so important that nothing's important. I don't think everything should be at a level 10. So, what do? Well, we look at how are we blending all these areas of self care. And it's a dance. It's a dance that's ever shifting, you guys. And so every season I bring this up, you're like, I've heard this before. I love it because this is a good time to look at these again and say, where am I? And is this where I want to be? So you can look at your physical health, right? A 0 means it needs attention ASAP. Like you haven't given any focus to it. A 5 is maybe this could improve, and a 10 is you're doing great. But again, it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be a 10 if that's not the focus right now. Okay, so you can look at your mental health. You can look at your home and environment. Look at your professional life, your fun and your hobbies, your spirituality and your faith, your finances and your giving, your relationship and your family. And we will do these exercises together this season. I just want you to look at these. Where are you at? And is that where you want to be? Okay. Also, this season, I have a little framework about surrounding progress and how do we make progress? Because my whole heart is that we don't get to the end of this fall and we say, I was perfect at being back to the basics. I don't even know what that means, you guys, right? But sometimes as women, we want this idea of perfection in everything we do, or why bother? And instead, I want to say, how are you making progress? How are you taking these tools that you're learning, putting them in your toolbox, and then when you need that tool, pulling it out? For example, last season, we talked about financial self care, we talked about our money mindset. And so maybe in July, you didn't really necessarily need that tool, but you read the book, you were on the workshops, you did the things, right? And so now you're getting near the holiday season where you start spending a lot of money. And maybe those old limiting beliefs about how, you are with money start popping back up. You have tools now in your toolbox that you can pull out, right? And so this is going to be more tools in your toolbox this season, talking all about the basics. So, what do we do first? In month 1, we always get awareness surrounding our topic. So, awareness for me, everything is data, meaning I'm not going to beat myself up if I find out, wow, I've really been sucking at getting back to the basics. Instead, I get curious and I say, huh, that's interesting. I haven't been doing that. Maybe that's why I haven't been feeling this way, right? And so we build awareness. Then, after we build awareness, we take action. Because what I realized a lot of times with the women I worked with, specifically when we were only focused on fitness, is we've become very much aware of where we were missing the mark. We knew we weren't doing the workouts, we knew we weren't eating well, and we became really aware of it, right? And then we take action for a little while, but something would just not align. And so the third part is we make adjustments because you build awareness, you take a little bit of action, but then you can't always just rely on that same action forever and ever, amen, right? Life happens, life, things shift, seasons change. And so we're constantly making tweaks and adjustments in our journey As we build more awareness, take more action, make more adjustments, build awareness, take the action, make more adjustments, and we just keep doing that over and over and over again. And that's how you keep making progress. Where we stop making progress is somewhere in this zone right here, where we take a little bit of action and we don't make the adjustments. And that stops our progress every time because we build the awareness. Maybe we beat ourselves up and we never even take the action. Or maybe we build the awareness, take a little bit of action, get frustrated because the action's not happening fast enough, and then we stop. But my friends, remember, the prize is the process. The only way you can make progress is by not giving up in whatever that means to you. That's going to mean something different to everybody. And that's what I love about this space together, right? Because it's going to meet you where you are. So build the awareness, take some action, reflect on it, make adjustments, build more awareness, keep taking the action, right? It's a nice, beautiful circle that keeps going and going. And in the middle of all of it, you guys, is the accountability piece. Accountability sounds like sometimes this like harsh word, like, oh, I don't want to be held accountable to those things because what if I mess up? What if I fail? Accountability to me is a soft landing place. It's really supportability. It's the women in this community that are going to say, you got this. You're fine. Just get back up. We all fall down. They're going to remind us that, it's not us. It's that sometimes we just got off course, right? And sometimes they're going to remind us that maybe the goal's not for us, or maybe we've been being too harsh on ourselves, or whatever that looks like. But the accountability is an important woven factor. And that's why I say it's so important to be present in the sisterhood, because you will get out what you put in. And if you stay connected, a connected sister to me is a successful sister. Okay, so let's talk about tools and resources really quick that you have access to. I'm going to shift you guys to a couple different web pages. We're going to look at your membership portal. We're going to look at how do we access all of our resources and goodies for the season. We're going to look at where do we find our events and meetups, and then what is the Facebook group for? So let me switch the share over to the website. Awesome. Okay, let me make this a little smaller. Perfect. So this is your membership portal in here. It'll look like this. When you get to my website, inspirebeautybrit.com, you click on log in, and then you can log in with your email and your password, okay? And then it'll take you right into the membership page, okay? This is a good, quick getting started video that you can check out if you haven't yet. Just gives you a little rundown of the season. And then the 3 steps to get started: join our Sisterhood members only community. That's our Facebook group. Put our meetup and event dates in your calendar. You guys have given us, actually, I believe tomorrow it's going to post on the prep week on the Sisterhood page. But when I give you the entire season, put those in your calendar. I'm also going to show you where they are right now if you're like itching to just do that right now. And then your goodies and your resources, you can tap there to get those, okay? It's also all right here. Facebook group, events, calls, and meetups, fall workbook, and goodies. So here's the event page. This tells you everything. So one thing I suggest is just go in right now, write all these dates in your calendar, okay? Because if it's already in your calendar, then nothing can take priority over that, right? Sometimes when I forget to put things in my calendar, then I double book myself, and then I have to choose which one needs to be the priority, right? And so if this is a priority for you and you do want to get on these calls and you can make them, put them in your calendar now. Also, your Zoom link is here if you ever need it. If you ever need it, you just go to the event page in your not Facebook, the event page in your membership portal, and it'll take you right to that link. I also usually have it in our weekly happenings on the Facebook page. I'll show you that here as well. And then your fall workbook and goodies is going to take you, when you click on it, it's going to take you to Google Drive, and you're going to see all of our fall wallpapers that you can do for your phone. I'm going to show you as my phone. Well, will it show? No, I'm in work mode. Hold on. Let me get out of work mode real quick. Anywho, I'm not going to show you. I've got this one on my phone though. The progress is not linear, is on my phone. I love that one. This is a win the morning checklist, and we'll have more little trackers and wallpapers and things like that as the season goes. If you miss a training or want a workshop replay, anything that is like a training sort of thing is going to be recorded like today is, and that'll be available for you in here. But also if you're on your membership homepage at the very bottom, you can go here and they'll be uploaded here. Right now you see nothing because nothing has happened yet, but this one will be uploaded and placed here. So later in the day, you'll see it right here at the bottom of your membership portal. And then you've got your book club options for this season. Book club is literally my favorite thing we do. I've got the books right here. I highly recommend all of them, but I recommend starting with one, right? And so maybe in September you start with How Are You Really? In October, we are going to dig into this book as well as doing a paired Bible study with it. Okay, so if you want to dig into this with us, and I will tell you guys, honestly, even if you don't share the same faith as me, which I'm Christian, but even if you don't like call yourself Christian, there is so much goodness to learn in these, and the discussions are not like Christian or die. Right? Like they're just it's not like that at all. This is just us coming together and having like a little cup of coffee, getting our mindsets ready for the day and just digging into what we're reading and what we're learning. And so a lot of times it's not even about sharing my faith. It just is like, how do you become a better human? Right. And so you are welcome to join us for that. That's in October. And then maybe in November, you do real self care or whatever. Do it in whatever order speaks to you. But there's 3 books, there's 3 months. What if you challenged yourself to read a book a month this season? Or I love that Leah's on here right now because she loves to get hers off of the library app. She shared that with us in the Facebook page, so you can go search for her post. But she shared with us how you can use library apps to get to check out these books, so you don't even have to pay for them, or you can get them in the audio version. She loves to do that. And then in the audio version, you could just listen to them while you're out on a walk, maybe while you're driving to work in the morning, right? And so even if you're not like a book person, and that's harder for you to sit down and physically read a book, you could absolutely grab one of these in audio format. So the links are also all here. And then the last thing that's inside your portal is your workbook for the season to print off. I've got mine printed here. I still need to go take it to get it spiral bound and like with a thing so that, because you can see my papers are already like, they're all over the place, y'all. And I don't love that. So this is what I typically do is I get it spiral bound and with a nice little cover so it stays protected. I'm going to do that later this week. So that's where all your resources are, your events, your workbook and your goodies, any replays that you missed, it's all here in your portal. And then also the link to get onto any Zoom that we're on. In our Facebook group, in the Sisterhood membership, typically at the top here, I haven't pinned it yet because for whatever reason, I accidentally forgot to put the the podcast playlist. But every week in our weekly happenings, I give you guys a podcast playlist of the week, and let me scroll and show you what it looks like from last season. Right here. So I'll give you a podcast playlist, and it also has the weekly happenings. And at the bottom, it'll tell you what's going on that week. And there's our Zoom. So if ever you're like, I don't know where the Zoom is, I need to get on the Zoom, it's always in the weekly happenings, which is always pinned to the top. I'm going to pin it here when I get off this call once I upload the actual podcast. I don't know why I missed that or how I missed that, but I will upload that as well. So the Facebook group, you guys, that's for you. This is for you to talk with one another, to bring your questions, to share what you're learning in your books. Like there's no wrong way to do the Facebook group, but I encourage you to be part of it. Be present in the Facebook group because, like I said, what you put into it is what you will get out of it. Okay. All right. Let me switch back to this. And let's go to the next. So we're on the last slide. Last things. Okay. Print out your workbook. Brownie points, you guys, for spiral binding it. That's what I'm going to do later this week. But make sure you have your workbook printed out. We will be working directly from this all season long. The first Monday of every month, or approximately our Monday call every month at the top of the month, will always be out of our workbook. So you'll want that. Write down all your events. And I don't know why this says spring. It should say fall. Forgive me. Write down all your events though for fall in your planner. And I'm going to be uploading the events into the Facebook group. So after I do that, click going so that you make sure you get the reminders and any updates that I do put into those pages. And then, like I said, stay connected and accountable because that's the woven thread all season long. A connected sister is the most successful sister because you weren't made to do life or your journey alone. So get on those sweat meetups, get on the workshops, hang out in your monthly meetups. I know at first sometimes it's uncomfortable and it's awkward and you're like, I don't know these people, or gosh, like, guys, that's what this is for, right? We're here to stretch ourselves, to do the uncomfortable things because remember, healthy things grow and sometimes growth is uncomfy, and that's okay. You're doing it right. Yeah, there's a welcome post on the membership. Introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, where you're from, what do you love, who do you love, all the things. Comment and connect on anything that's happening in the Sisterhood page because, like I said, you will get out exactly what you put in. I am so excited for the season, you guys. Sweat meetup this Friday. I will put a post up on Thursday night so that you guys can kind of coordinate times and time zones. And then we're kicking it off on Monday with our month one workshop. So grab your workbooks, put on something comfy on Monday night, and make sure that you plan on hanging out with us at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. All right. I love you guys so much. Whether you're watching live with me, thank you for being here, or catching the replay. Let's have an awesome prep week, and I will see you in the Sisterhood.